the grades they've had thus far, and the GPA. Some colleges will request a GPA, which they call the 7-semester GPA, at the end of the first semester of their senior year. And that will have a new recalculated GPA on it. And so when we get those requests, those are forwarded to the colleges at that time. In addition to the transcript, this is something that a lot of parents aren't familiar with. So you're going to be first in the know for this point, because as Mrs. Benavides said, we've given this presentation to anyone before. But in addition to the transcript, high schools send a copy of what's called the school profile. And I'm going to share my screen with you now, and we're going to show you an example of the school profile. The school profile has a lot of general information on it. You can see it has a little bit about Prestonwood, the GPA, how we compute the GPA, a lot of numbers, a lot of data that schools are looking for. How many national merits, how about AP scholars? Right below that, a huge factor is how do we calculate the GPA? We have to have on this profile how we calculate our grades. You can see to the right of the GPA, it talks about our graduation requirements. Okay, we can see the graduation requirements and what's required of our students. And then you see test scores, AP courses offered, a plethora of information that we feed the colleges, including on page 2. We're going to go to page 2. Schools where our students have been accepted. And PCA, like many schools, we pride ourselves on where the students are accepted, not necessarily where they attend, but just getting accepted to the schools makes a big statement to the colleges. So, and you can see there's even more definition of all of our different graduation programs, the Lions program, STEM honors. We highlight our Biblical Worldview Institute that every student partakes in, and of course, the administrators and all of our accreditations. So every transcript that leaves our office is accompanied by this school profile to put our curriculum and our students and our school's academic reputation in context to the colleges. So this is something that your child never has to worry about asking to have the school profile sent. It is automatically sent. It's a requirement on our end to send it to the colleges. So again, that's something you probably have not heard about, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. Ms. Benavides, did you have something to add to that?
I was just, for their reference, the school profile is always posted on our school's website. You could just do the search, is connected on the guidance website. And so if you ever wanted to look at it for your own use, you could do that.
Exactly. All right, now we're going to look at the transcript. So we're going to show you, we've kind of made an example of a transcript that we want to share with you. And this is the student version of the transcript. You can find your child's transcript on my PCA. Now, 8th grade, if you don't have any courses you've taken in middle school for high school credit, you won't have a transcript yet. But once they start in 9th grade, the transcript will start by just having the courses that they're taking for that school year. Okay, so we're going to start by looking at the top of this transcript, and you can see that it has personal information on it. Okay, please verify that the birth date and the contact information, your address, is accurate on the transcript. You can change any of this. Well, you can change your address in my PCA, but the birth date and any other pertinent information at the top, if you have questions about that, Mrs. Julie Sparks, our amazing registrar, is the one that will make those changes and keep this updated for you. All right. It's also advised that your student verify that the above information matches what's in SCORE. Now, many of you probably haven't heard about SCORE as yet, but it is a new college application program that we're using that actually is going to send out transcripts for the students. So we do want the information to match what's in SCORE. Okay. What's important to know about this transcript is that it tells a story, okay? A story that you can see through the courses that the child takes and the grades they earn. And if they're advancing and doing well in a class, or if not, maybe something's going on in their life that their grades have affected. Now, I know people worry about that. Oh my gosh, what is a college going to think if he had a bad semester? Well, those instances lead to telling a great story. Sometimes that story is what turns out to be the student's college essay, but many times there's opportunities in an application to say, hey, if something was going on that affected your grades, tell us about it. And that will help the college understand what happened in that time period. Okay. Another part of the story that really stands out is that if a student is in our PCA college prep classes and getting high grades, 98s and 99s, and all of those college prep classes, a college might say and wonder, hey, why aren't you taking some advanced level classes that might be more challenging to you? And so again, this transcript's telling a story if you can kind of visualize that with me. What the college is looking for, though, is always upward progress. Is the student advancing? Is the student progressing? Again, many times we'll see in semester 1 of the freshman year that there's a transitional period, and there is for everybody. Whether you're in 8th grade from PCA coming to high school, or you were in public school coming to PCA, there's a bit of a transition and adjustment. But as long as we're showing advancement, progression, upwards trajectory, hey, the college will be fine with that. That's what's they're looking for. And remember, the colleges have a copy of that school profile, so they are aware of the higher level classes that we offer. Okay, and we say that just to instill something that we encourage students about. We want students to be taking classes that are challenging to them and that they can be successful in, all right? Which, again, a big word that we use in our office is balance, okay? This is where we advise students to consider all the activities they're involved in, both inside and outside of school, to ensure that they have time for the courses that they selected. Now, we know students are not happy when we suggest limiting the number of higher level classes that they take in a year. But again, we are there to encourage their success and make every effort to ensure that success, which ultimately is reflected on the transcript. And I know a lot of you are worried about, well, my goodness, what if my child gets a B in a higher level class? Colleges would like to see students earning a B, working hard, being challenged, and earning a B in the class versus not being challenged and earning those 98s and 99s in every class. So that's something to consider when you're picking, helping your child pick classes. Okay, we're gonna start reviewing this transcript by looking at the GPA, which you'll see at the top of the page. You will note that we do put the diploma track the student is on, and again, that is explained on the school profile, what's incorporated in the college prep diploma, and then the GPA. Now the GPA is cumulative, and so we just keep after year recalculating the GPA on the transcript. Okay, all grades for all classes are calculated, and this is PCA classes, and I'll get into that a little bit more. PCA classes go into the GPA. You can see that the transcript, we've got semester 1, semester 2 grades, and then we have the credits earned. Okay, and how the grades are calculated is that it's 40% of your grade for each quarter, and 20% for the final exam is what makes up a semester grade. Okay, so it's 40, 40, 20. Okay, and where you see the quarter grades is on the student's report card. The report card shows quarters and a semester grade. And the reason I want to bring that up is because if you see on the report card that quarter 1 might not be the 90% that your student is aiming for, that's only 40% of their grade. Let's say it's an 85. That's only 40% of the grade. So they have the next quarter to try a little harder, overcome that. They can still get that A. They've just got to, again, try a little harder, get a higher grade, and then do well on the final. Then the semester grade is calculated, which goes on the transcript. Now, as we're going along, and we're going to do questions at the end, if anything I'm saying you guys have questions to, you guys can go ahead and put it in the chat, and then we'll answer those as we go along. I want to be sure that we're being as clear as possible. Sometimes when we do this every day and we work with these numbers every day, it seems very simple and explainable to us. I know since this is new to a lot of you, it might not be as clear as we hope. So we do want you guys to enter your questions. Okay, back to this transcript. All right, on this transcript, you will see that the student has taken a pre-AP class or two. Okay, in fact, pre-AP World History in his second year, he took. The grade that you see is the actual grade he received in the class, okay? The extra points that we were talking about, which is 0.5 per semester for pre-AP and honors, and 1 point per semester for AP, those extra points go into that GPA, that weighted GPA, and the extra points is what's considered the weighting. So when you hear weighted GPA, that's your actual grades and the extra points calculated together. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, PCA's GPA on the transcript is weighted. And we do want you to be aware that there are colleges, once we send the transcript off, that recalculate the student's GPA. And so some of them will take the weighting off, which means they're calculating the actual grades. They'll take the weighting off, calculate the actual grades. However, they still are aware of the rigor that goes into our classes, and many schools actually have a percentage rank or percentage number that they give schools in their I've lost my word, rubric. The rubric, okay, for admissions, there is a value for rigor, so that will still go into that calculation for the colleges. Okay. You can also see on this transcript that the student was at a different school for middle school and their first year of high school, and their transfer school actually will be named on this transcript. Now, we transcribe those classes, meaning we bring them over and we put them on a PCA transcript and they are receiving credit for those classes that go towards our GPA, our graduation requirements, okay? However, the important thing to know is that the grades do not go into the PCA GPA, okay? Only courses taken at PCA are calculated into the GPA on our transcript. So where I'm going to take you now is over to the right of the grades where we have all the legends, okay? And again, this is more definition to the college of how we calculate our GPA, our grading scale, and where these classes were taken, okay? The legends, as you can see, PC is PCA Plano. Again, that's to the very left column of the courses on this transcript, okay? So we've got PCA courses. If you came from the North Campus, we'll indicate that. Now, the VC legend for PCA Plus virtual courses is something else we're going to talk about in a minute. And then CA courses earned by averaging. All right, I'm going to get into that a little bit in a minute as well. And on the other side of this legend here, at the bottom of the legend, is rank, okay? You will note that there is no class rank on the transcript. That is because PCA is a non-ranking school, okay? So we don't put rank on any transcript. Now, if your student is in the top 10% of their class, and we do calculate top 10% for automatic admission into the Texas public universities, with the exception of UT, which is top 6%, okay? But if they fall within the top 10% of the class, a letter is written on the student's behalf and sent to the college. Their actual rank is never disclosed to the student. All right. Okay, on this transcript also, we can see that the student had a little challenge in US history his junior year, okay? And he actually first started out in honors US history and did not do well in that class. He failed the first semester of honors with a 69. You can see he was not awarded credit that semester for the class. However, we did change the class he was in, put him into college prep history, and which was a much better fit, and the student second semester received a 91, okay? In this case, we were able to semester average, and the student got the full credit for the entire year through semester averaging. So what happens here is that the 69 and the 91 are not calculated into the student's GPA, yet the semester averaging recalculated his grades to an 80 for each semester. That's what's calculated into the GPA, giving the student full benefit and full credit, both in his GPA and for credit. So he did not have to go to summer school. We do offer semester averaging, but semester averaging only works if the semester 2 grade is high enough that both semesters equal a 70 or higher. It does not work in reverse. If the student had received the 91 first semester and the 69 the second semester, they would be attending summer school for the second semester. Okay, and the reason behind that, and a lot of people go, oh, that may not seem fair. When you have a higher grade in the second semester, it shows mastery of the information over the entire year. If we do it in reverse, we're not saying the student mastered the information. And again, that's our goal, is that the student masters the information. Okay. And again, the student wasn't punished with the failing grade that they'd received that first semester. All right. Now, this same student, if we look up speech is a one semester class. This student failed speech with a 60. There's no way to semester average speech. And so you can see, if you look just down below, he took speech through PCA Plus over the summer to gain his credit. Okay. And so a summer class for credit recovery can be taken through PCA Plus or your local high school. Or if there's room in the student's schedule the following year, they can take it in a brick and mortar classroom here at PCA Plano if there's room in his schedule. Okay, so that's an option as well. All right. So for the student, when he failed speech, there was no credit given, but the failing grade initially did go into his GPA. But once he did the credit recovery and received the 81, he received credit. However, since the course was taken at PCA Plus, that did not go into his GPA. Remember, only courses taken through PCA go into the transcript. All right. Also on here, you could see some pass-fail classes. The PE credit is pass-fail, conditioning is pass-fail. Those classes have no bearing on the GPA and are not calculated in, but everything else is calculated into the student's GPA. Right, I hope that makes sense. And then you can see for 12th grade, we've got the students, all the classes he was taking, and then until the first semester, you only saw the courses he was taking. And now we've got his first semester classes on there. And a final transcript will be sent at the end of the senior year, showing completion and credits for every class given. So the junior year transcript goes for college admissions. After 12th grade, at the end of 12th grade in graduation, and that's the other thing the transcript will show, is that the student is actually graduated. That goes to the selected college the student will be attending the following year. All right, so to summarize what we've said and the important things you want to be sure that you know about this transcript is that the student's cumulative GPA includes all semester grades for all PCA courses taken 9th through 12th grade. Okay, and only classes taken at PCA are calculated into that GPA. Pass-fail classes and any classes taken through PCA Plus or at any other school, including PCA middle school, are not included in the student's GPA. So for middle schoolers coming to high school, they have credit that they've earned in a couple of classes, but those grades will not go into the cumulative GPA. The same information can be found in the parent-student handbook on my PCA on pages 102 and 103. If you guys want to see the hard copy of the GPA and credit recovery rules and guidelines that we have. So those are the high points of what we wanted to talk about the transcript. We're going to open it up to questions and answer all the questions and clarify anything that you guys have questions about. So let's open it up.
I'll go ahead and answer some of the questions that were posted. If a student is exempt from exam, which in high school they can earn exemptions, and those exemption opportunities grow as they continue. So freshman year, they can be exempt from one exam, and then sophomore 2, so on and so forth. So if a student is exempt from an exam, that semester calculation then becomes 50-50 for each quarter to earn this semester. And so it just rewards them even more for their diligence in day to day.
That was a good question.
Yes, yes, it is. I'm thankful that you asked it, Mrs. Kramer. And then another question here, just to clarify on that 40-40-20, so that is to earn a semester average. Each quarter is 40%, then the semester exam is 20%. So if we're talking about a semester one, quarter two are each 40%, semester one exam is 20%, and that's how you earn that semester one average. And then every semester it's cumulative. So for our students that are about to finish freshman year, each semester will basically be 50% of the GPA. At the end of the sophomore year, each semester is 1/4% of the GPA, and so forth. Let's see, high school classes, the high school course that's taken in middle school, you are correct, is not calculated into the GPA. However, it is reported. So the colleges do see it. So especially if it's that Algebra 1, they're going to review that as part of the admissions. Spanish 1, French 1, all of that is seen by the college, so that it does count. So if you have an 8th grader who's maybe struggling with motivation, you can remind them it is on there and it is recorded. Dual credit courses calculated into GPA. So for example, if a freshman is taking Spanish 2 dual credit, that is a pre-AP course. So the high school course that is earned is calculated into the high school GPA. The college grade that is earned, so for Spanish particularly would be Texas Wesleyan, that is actually going on their college transcript. So that's being calculated into their college GPA, which, as Ms. King and I were working for our seniors something today, we were able to, we're going to be reminding them that they will be requesting their college transcript at that point. So that's typically when they've decided where they're going to go, is where that's seen in that process. And
wait, while you're on that, can our kids do dual credit courses? Can they go to take college courses?
So dual credit is, so certain classes we already have as prearranged as dual credit. So currently would be your pre-calculus is a dual credit. We have a business analysis class, which is a math credit, and our foreign language, Spanish, counts as dual credit, meaning dual credit by definition is a dual, obviously for purposes, high school credit and college credit at the same time. That is what is approved as dual credit. If a student wanted to go take a college course for more personal enrichment or to get ahead in college, it would not count as dual credit. It would be what would be considered concurrent enrollment, where if a student meets with us, we talk through it, it's a good fit for the summer, we can approve the course, but it will not count into on the high school transcript nor into the high school GPA. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
A common question is, what if a college requests a student's rank? So there are many, many, many more than you would actually think schools that do not rank. And it's more common than even it was 5 years ago. So colleges are used to that as an option. So typically there's a drop-down box of my school does not rank. And then as we say it on the transcript and the school profile, it is verifying what that student is entering in the application. And then, like Mrs. King referenced, is say for Texas A&M, that currently is still an automatic admit for top 10%. We communicate that on behalf of the student to confirm that rank statement if they qualify for that. So we do not withhold the information, but the exact rank itself is never communicated to the student, only to the college directly. Come back to
There's a couple questions here. Do you see them?
Mhm.
Okay,
Go ahead.
okay, now I've got another one too. I mean, I've got another one too, but here, okay. What would be a situation where a PCA enrolled student would take a PCA plus course? They receive credit toward required courses, but not the grade on the transcript. But when would the student take a PCA course, PCA plus course?
So one example where it is an approved situation is we have, in high school, they have to have 4 science courses. 3 of the 4 have to be biology, chemistry, and physics. The 4th one, we technically call it elective because they're getting to choose which one. So where we have anatomy, we have AP Chem, there's a couple different options. One of those options is a marine science course that is a virtual course through PCA Plus. In that circumstance, it would count on the transcript and into the GPA because it is an approved graduation credit option. If a student, so we've had a student just really want to, let's see, it was an extra, they were extremely interested in economics and they wanted to go ahead and take an AP Econ sophomore year. That would not count towards graduation requirements necessarily, but it could count on the transcript, but not into the GPA. That's not really a good example, but I can't, psychology would be a better example because we're going to be offering AP Psych for the first year next year, and PCA Plus has offered psychology in the past. So student really wanted to take it. It would show up on the transcript, but it would not count into the GPA because it's kind of similar to concurrent enrollment. It's more for enrichment and just for knowledge, right? For learning. And we always want to encourage that. Did that really answer the question?
I'm so confused as to why offer the course if you can't, if it's not going to
PCA Plus is its own class, its own school.
Okay. So that's not a class. That's not an actual brick and mortar class. That's PCA. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Anytime we're talking about, PCA Plus is its own school. And so we have the benefit of having them in our system of schools, but it's not PCA Plano. When we say brick and mortar, that's your traditional, they're coming to school every day. So that's just an example. A student can go take something for more enrichment, like the psychology, or there's a couple other electives, but you have to look at PCA Plus, and it's its own school. They have their own graduation requirements. And then there's PCA Plano, there's PCA North. Does that make a little more sense?
So here's a question that kind of goes along with this, okay? So can a child take a course in summer school to lighten or change their course load in high school? So can they take a course at PCA Plus or their local summer school to get ahead?
Yeah. So if it's a graduation requirement, it needs to be taken through PCA only. However, we've added 2 options during the summer to help with the load. So the 2 courses that are offered in the summer through PCA are going to be able to be registered for via the Summers at Prestonwood link that's already been sent out, or when you're on Prestonwood's website, you can just do Summers at PCA. The 2 options are Fine Arts Appreciation 1, which is a 1 semester course that can go towards the fine arts requirement. It's going to be an in-person class this summer. The other option is a Computer Science 1. So that's really the introduction course to computer science. It will count as a 1 semester towards the technology requirement. And it also counts as the prerequisite for students that are wanting to take the AP Computer Science later on in high school. It does serve as that prerequisite.
Great. Here's another question. Will you please clarify the difference in regular, honors, pre-AP, and AP as far as those points and weighting?
Okay. So on that profile and on the transcript, when we were talking about what that GPA scale is, that would be the standard college prep scale. If it's an honors pre-AP course, they are given 0.5 per semester extra. If it's an AP, then it would be 1 full point extra on the GPA.
Okay. And okay, clarify this on the report card. Okay, we're going to see points, weighting factors. On the report card, are we just seeing the grades?
On the report card.
Report-
On the report card is also that GPA scale that we've referenced on the profile and also on the transcript. It's also on the report card.
Okay. And we are recording this. A couple of you have asked, we are recording this and it will be posted.
So just to go back to the report card, because I'm looking at my son's, you're saying the weighted is, if you're looking at the cumulative GPA, it's already there, the weighting.
Anytime you see a GPA reported, the weighted has already been calculated into what you're seeing is the reported GPA number. And then just as a reminder, GPA is semester calculated. So at the end of Q3, the GPA is not going to be any different than it was in December. Because
Yeah,
the GPA is
makes sense.
semester.
Yes.
But we put that on there for a student to be able to go in and kind of estimate the math, right, of what direction they're going. And so that way it's always fully available. And I also do just want to remind that the transcript, the unofficial transcript is always available on my PCA, as Mrs. King referenced earlier, because we want you and the student both to be able to see that at all times every semester.
And then another question was, is this same information given to the incoming freshman?
So we summarized some key points when we spoke to students. And then when we go into the freshman classes, we go into the freshman classes about a month into school. And we'll hit some highlights of this as well. And we don't automatically just start talking college to freshmen, because we know that we need to be able to focus on some day-to-day, how are we setting goals? But part of that is explaining to them how the quarters work and how it goes into semester, and then what does that look like going forward, and reiterating those day-to-day choices that go into that big cumulative semester number.
You guys have had a lot of great questions, and I've written down a lot of items here that we'll incorporate for the future to help clarify. So you guys have been very helpful in asking these questions. Any more questions?
Jody, this is Nancy Mijares. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned the marine science as a PCA plus course over the summer, and you said that that would be included in the GPA because it's an approved course?
Correct. It's an approved graduation option, because we do want to give options as that elective science, knowing by then, as you know, when they're in that junior and senior year, they don't have to know what they're going to do with the rest of their life, but the interest and in essence, their passive are starting to become a little more clarified. And so that's one of those options at that point. So freshman year, they will be in biology. Sophomore year, they will be in chemistry. And then junior and senior year, physics has to be completed. But for some students, physics is a better fit their senior year. And we know that. And so physics can be junior or senior. And then that elective science can also be junior or senior. And some students will actually take two their junior year, one their junior year, two their senior year.
Okay, that makes sense. And that marine course, is that typically the fifth science, is that typically something you recommend maybe like sophomore summer as opposed to like a freshman summer?
Yeah, definitely not freshman summer. I wouldn't start that. If a student's still interested, summer after sophomore year would be a good year to start that. But really summer after freshman, I think, is a little too early as a general statement.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, we have a couple more questions. Great questions again. As a freshman parent, when is a good time to meet to discuss our college goals?
Now, it's never too early. It's never too late for those that especially have older students. I'm sure you laughed when I said that. But, part of that is, goals. The more that you know, the more clarify you can set on a goal as far as a student. And sometimes, students just need some encouragement as far as kind of where am I going or why am I doing this? And that's where we like to be able to speak into. And so, sophomore and junior year is really where we're talking a little bit more pathways, because at that point they've taken the course Life Calling, where there's a lot of assessments built into that and some self-reflection. And so, but freshman year, it's never too early to just kind of start talking about, these are my goals. I really would like to have 2 APs by the time I graduate. Okay, so let's kind of look then, right? We have to look forward to come back to today. What do we need to do to accomplish those goals? Or if I'm really interested in XYZ career, what are some things that we could be doing? And we can suggest sometimes camps or internships or job shadowing. And there's just a lot of simple questions that we can ask the student that you're probably asking at home, but we'll just get different answers because we don't live in your home, right? So just some of those just good conversations are never too early to have.
Okay, and here's a really important question. Can you go over how FPS and LSP are calculated into the GPA since they are graded electives?
So FPS is an honors credit, and so it's going to be on that same scale. It meets during activity period, and so it actually earns a quarter of a credit per semester, not a half a credit per semester. So it's calculated the same way, just like anything else. It's just the amount. The credit itself is a different number. But any elective that's not pass fail is going to be into the GPA calculation. And then it's denoted on the transcript if it's an honors. Just like mock trial is an honors, but it's a full class period. So it would be half a semester for each semester. And then it also counts as a speech credit. So that would go towards graduation.
Okay. A question about score. Okay. What type of information should our students be entering into SCORE now to help build a college profile?
Okay, so I'm going to take one step back. For any 8th grade parent that's with us, you haven't really been introduced to SCORE yet. Your student will receive their accounts once they are in 9th grade, and we help facilitate that process. But what SCORE is it's a really helpful resource tool as far as college research, and then eventually it becomes kind of our communication tool where the student's able to let us know what application they have submitted. We're able to send everything on their behalf. So it becomes, right now it's research, and then it turns into management. So what's great for a freshman to start entering now is anything resume as it happens. So any extracurricular, any service, any awards, right? We're getting into award season. So anything basically that happens out of the traditional school day, not homework, anything else needs to be put into SCORE if you already have a freshman. And yes, SCORE replaced Naviance for those that have older students. Naviance was definitely, it worked and it got the job done, but SCORE is a much more student-friendly version where they're able to put in criteria, lots of search features. So the other helpful piece is, as a freshman, they can go ahead and just start playing around with something that they think that they would like. Maybe right now they see themselves in New York City. They can start seeing what's out there. And then that could change 50 more times before they graduate, right? That's totally normal, but they can reset the filters. That's the beautiful part of it, as many times as they want. And they can already start doing virtual tours on SCORE. So that's a great, like in the summer, spending time kind of playing around on that. And then as a parent, say, hey, can you just show me some of what these filters look like? And that way they can show you what would pop up on what they call it the college wall. And you can see what just matches there could be there.
All right, and Ms. Benavides, when does the diploma plan get added to the transcript? If they're not seeing a diploma plan on their transcript? When do we add that?
Ms. Sparks may have to correct me on this one, but I believe that is senior, or it would be after the end of their junior year when we're sending to colleges, because until then, there's not really a definitive as far as working towards that. She just confirmed that that was right. At the end of the junior year, because at that point they have been making progress on, we can confirm that they've had that 3rd year of language, and they've made progress towards those 4 APs, which are what we call the AP measures for that distinguished. And so it is communicated to colleges, but previously to that, there's not a way to confirm if they're on that path, even if they are. We can do that within advising and make notes in their file, which is another reason why it's good to meet.
Have we missed any questions? I think I've tried to go through all of them and make sure that we've answered everybody's questions. Anything else we can answer today? And you can always send us emails, send us an email for other specific questions. But while we've got you all during this time, if there's other questions, please let us know. I think we're good.
Okay, thank you all so much for spending your middle of the day with us. Just one real quick one. Do parents have access? The students have access to their SCORE account, and so you would just ask them for that log on, but there's not a separate parent account or parent access. And the students set their own passwords. So we give them an invitation and then they set their own password. So that was the very last question that came in. So we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And then if you do want to set an appointment, the best, or really the fastest way, is to email Mrs. Considine, which is DCONSIDINE@PrestonwoodChristian.org. And she will get that on our calendars. And just a side note, we are here during the summer. We take some vacation days, but we are here during the summer too. So you don't have to stress out before the end of the year. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.